Hey everyone! So today is Tuesday, May 26th, and we're going to be reading part 11 of our book, The One and Only Ivan. We're almost to the end. We have about another week and a half left, so let's keep going. Today we're going to start on page 197 and end on page 213. So let's go ahead and get our books out to page 197, and we're going to start with the letter H. I lay out 17 pieces of poster board, 4 down, 4 across. A perfect square. What are you up to? Bob demands. I'm guessing it doesn't involve sleep. It has to do with the bulletin board. That's signs of monstrosity, particularly since I'm not featured. I grab my bucket of red paint. You're not on the bulletin or on the billboard because you're not in the show, I pointed out. Technicality. I don't even live here, Bob says with a sniff. I am homeless by choice. I know, I'm just saying. I study the billboard. Then I make 2 fat lines, like broom handles. Another fat line connects them. I stand back. What do you think? What is it? No, wait. Let me guess. A ladder. Not a ladder, I say. A letter. At least, I think that's what they're called. I have to make 3 more. Bob cuddles up next to Knot Tag. Why? He asks, yawning. Because then I'll have a word. A very important word. I dip my fingers into the paint. What word? Bob asks. Home. Bob closes his eyes. It's not so important, he says quietly. Nervous. All day long, I knuckle walk circles around my cage. I'm so nervous I can't nap. I can't even eat. Well, not very much anyway. I'm ready to show Julia what I've made. It has to be Julia. She's an artist. Surely she'll truly look at my painting. She won't notice the smudges or the tears. She won't care if the pieces don't quite fit together. She'll see past all of that. Surely Julia will see what I've imagined. I watched Ruby trudge slowly through the 4 o'clock show, and I wonder, what will happen if I fail? What if I can't make Julia understand? But of course I know the answer. Nothing. Nothing will happen. Ruby will remain the main attraction at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, conveniently located off of I-95, with shows at 2, 4, and 7, 365 days a year, year after year after year. Showing Julia. It's time to show my work. The mall is silent, except for Thelma the macaw, who is practicing her phrase, uh-oh. Julia is finishing her homework. George is sweeping outside and Mac has gone home for the night. I grab Knot Tag carefully, pulling out the folded pieces. So many paintings. Page after page, piece after piece. My giant puzzle. I pound on my glass and Julia glances over. Fingers trembling, I hold up one of my paintings. That's brown and green. A corner piece. Julia smiles. I display another picture, and then another, and another, and another. Each one a tiny part of the whole. Julia looks confused. But what is it? She asks, and she shrugs. It doesn't matter. It's pretty just as it is. Uh-oh, says Thelma. No, I think no, it does matter. More paintings. George calls out to Julia. He's done for the night. Grab your book bag, he says, and hurry, it's late. I gotta go, Ivan, Julia says. Julia doesn't understand. I have to find the right pieces. I dig through the pile. They're here somewhere. I know they are. I find one, another one, another. I try to fold 4 of them against the glass. Bob, I say, help me, hurry. Bob grabs paintings with his teeth and drags them. One by one, I shove pictures through the window crack. They crumble and tear. There are too many pieces. My puzzle is too big. Careful, Ivan, Julia says. Those might be worth millions someday. You never know. She arranges the paintings in a neat stack. I suppose Mac's going to sell them in the gift shop. She still doesn't understand. I shove more out the hole, and more, all of them, one after another. So Ivan's been painting, has he? George says as he puts on his coat. A lot, says Julia with a laugh. A whole lot. You're not taking all of those home with you, are you? George asks. I mean, no offense to Ivan, but they're just blobs. Julia thumbs through the towering stack of paintings. They might not be blobs to Ivan. Let's leave those by the office, George suggests. Mac will want to sell them, although why anyone will pay $40 for a finger painting a 2-year-old could do, I do not know. I like Ivan's work, Julia says. He puts his feelings into them. He puts his hair into them, George says. Julia waves goodbye. Night, Ivan. Night, Bob. I press my nose against the glass. I watch her walk away. All my work, all my planning, wasted. I look at Ruby sleeping soundly, and suddenly I know she'll never leave the Big Top Mall. She'll be here forever, just like Stella. I cannot let Ruby be another one and only. Chest beating. Often when visitors come to see me, they beat their hands against their puny chests pretending to be me. They pound away, soundless as the wet wings of a new butterfly. The chest beating of a mad gorilla is not something you ever want to hear. Not even if you're wearing earplugs. Not even if you're 3 miles away wearing earplugs. A real chest beating sends the whole jungle running, as if the sky has broken open, as if men with guns are near. Angry. Thump. The sound, my sound, echoes through the mall. George and Julia spin around. Julia drops her backpack. George drops his keys. The pile of pictures go flying. Thump, thump, thump. I bounce off the walls. I skeet and bow and bellow. I beat and I beat and I beat my chest. Bob hides under knot tag, his paws over his ears. I'm angry at last. I have someone to protect. Puzzle pieces. After a long while, I grow quiet and I sit. It's hard work being angry. Julia looks at me with wide eyes, disbelieving eyes. I'm panting. I'm a little out of shape. What the heck was that? George demands. Something's really wrong, Julia says. I've never seen Ivan act like this. He seems to have calmed down, thank goodness, George says. Julia shakes her head. He's still upset, Dad. Look at his eyes. My pictures are scattered all over the floor, like huge autumn leaves. Oh, what a mess, George says, sighing. Wish I hadn't bothered sweeping tonight. What do you think Ivan's okay? Julia asks. Probably just a temper tantrum, George says. He reaches under the chair to retrieve a brown and red picture. Can't say I blame the guy stuck in a tiny cage all these years. Julia stares at the answer, and then she freezes. She cocks her head to the side. She stares at her feet, where the pictures lay in disarray. Dad, she whispers, come see this. Dad, she says again seriously, look at this. George follows her gaze. I see blobs, many, many blobs, along with an occasional swirl. Please, can we go home now? That's an H, Dad. Julia kneels down, straightening one picture, then another. That's an H. And here, she grabs more pictures. Put this one here, and I don't know, maybe that one, and oh, you have an E. George rubs his eyes, and I hold my breath. Julia is running now. She picked up one picture, sets another down another. It's a puzzle, Dad. This is something, it's a word. Maybe words. The picture is something, a giant picture. Jules! George says this is crazy. But he's looking at the floor too, wandering from picture to picture and scratching his head. H. Julia says, E-O. Ho? Julia chews on her lower lip. H-E-O. And that looks a lot like an I? H-E-O-I? George writes in the air with his fingers. I, E-O-H, not a letter, an actual I. And that's a foot, or maybe a tree, and a trunk. Dad, I think it's a trunk. Julia runs to the window. Ivan, she whispers, what did you make? I stare back. I cross my arms. This is taking much longer than I thought it would. Humans. Sometimes they make chimps look smart. All right, so that's it for today. So let's come back tomorrow and see if they figure out what Ivan's trying to tell them, okay? But go on Google Classroom and do your assignment for Tuesday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? Bye, everybody.